Namaskar, I'm Richa Anirudh, and on behalf of the Promerica Spirit of Community Awards, I welcome you to the 6th Spirit Talk. आप में से जो लोग हमारे साथ लगातार जुड़े हुए हैं इस सफर पर, वो अब तक जान ही चुके हैं कि प्रेमेरिका स्पिरिट ऑफ कम्युनिटी अवार्ड्स क्या हैं। ये अवार्ड्स एक कोशिश है उन युवाओं की कोशिशों को प्रेरणा देने की जो युवा समाज सेवा के काम में लगे हुए हैं। No matter how big or small, every step towards community service is a good deed, especially if done by youngsters. So Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards salutes the spirit of community service. और इस साल चूंकि बहुत सब कुछ बदल चुका है कोरोना के इन हालातों की वजह से, we are organizing these spirit talks every week to encourage more and more youngsters to apply for Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards. और इन spirit talk में हमारे साथ जुड़ते हैं समाज के ऐसे लोग जो कुछ ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं कि वो खुद एक मिसाल बने हैं दूसरे युवाओं के लिए, और साथ ही हमारे साथ जुड़ते हैं वो स्टूडेंट्स जो कहीं ना कहीं प्रेमेरिका स्पिरिट ऑफ कम्युनिटी अवार्ड्स के सफर का हिस्सा रहे हैं। So today the prominent citizen joining us is Shweta Tanwar Mukherjee. She's an experimental blogger and her blog is called Shivtas. Because I'll ask her what the experiment is all about. और साथ ही जो दो स्टूडेंट वॉलंटियर्स हमारे साथ जुड़ेंगे वो हैं महिमा और हिया, उनके काम के बारे में भी हम लोग जानेंगे। बट लेट्स फर्स्ट वेलकम श्वेता तंवर मुखर्जी टू द स्पिरिट टॉक। श्वेता, वेलकम।
Thank you so much, Richa, and namaskar to everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And big congratulations to the team of Pramerica and this amazing Spirit Talk. I think हम सब और बहुत जरूरी है ये stories, ये कहानियाँ और ये बातें लोगों तक पहुँचना हर तरीके से, especially now that 2020, the entire pandemic and with the social media. So a big congratulations to the team.
This has been a tough year, Shweta, as a mother, because जो मुझे पता चला है and what I understood, you blog a lot about being your motherhood, and so we'll discuss more of that. But as a mother, how difficult has 2020 been for you?
It's been quite difficult. I have a 4-year-old kid, and we were just now, I think, एक साल तो pandemic में निकल गया. So when it started off, it was 3, so very young age, and I think it's very important at that young age to get the right, stimulus, education, लोगों से मिलना, छोटी छोटी चीजें, पार्क जाना, आपका वो सब has been suddenly and एकदम से वो सब चीजें बंद हो गई. तो as a mother and I think as somebody who would be nurturing a life, these initial years were really critical. But then I think the only way to deal with it is very positively. So अब pandemic है, हम कुछ कर नहीं सकते. तो I think I have taken a complete route in terms of self-educating the kid with smallest of the things, whereas उसकी जो पढ़ाई लिखाई है, जो mainstream education है, जो कि 3 साल के बच्चे की कुछ होती नहीं है, but community में और society में कैसे क्या चल रहा है, उन चीजों को भी मद्देनजर रखते हुए मैंने काफी चीजें I have developed it myself itself, for the kid. तो I think motherhood बहुत challenging था. एक तो बच्चा, ऊपर से then the family and of course the work, everything comes down to one, the lady of the house, and she has to deal with everything. So I think it's been quite difficult for mothers, and इसी के लिए मैंने काफी programs भी and काफी write-ups भी लिखे over, as in mainstreams and social media, to talk about how difficult it is being for a mother, for a woman who's been double the load, because of the pandemic.
Wow. So अब मुझे अपने blog के बारे में बताइए. What is Shivtas all about?
So Shivtas is basically a story of, a mother. So it started off from, it actually picked up when I delivered a child and I started, documenting very smallest of the nuances of motherhood, of my life choices, of my reviews, experiences, and I'm a photographer by profession. So मैंने अपने काम को थोड़ा सा अच्छे से package करा. So जब एक नया, you have a baby in your hands, so you would like to click and all. उसके अलावा I realized at very early stage in my motherhood as well that it's very difficult from a career oriented woman to suddenly quit the job and shift to a full time mommy. Okay, and then जो आपका mental stress, जो आपकी mental anxieties, family support system, so as a woman मुझे लगा ये बातें करनी बहुत जरूरी है that when you are a mom you should not lose out your womanhood. That's very important. You should not lose out on the fact that what you want to be or what you wish to do or what you wish to eat. So just under the umbrella of being a mother. So मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा लिखना शुरू करा as a women empowerment पे, early motherhood पे, in terms of there were a lot of I used to talk a lot in terms of to a lot of mothers, new moms. तो वहां पे भी मुझे लगा कि ये स्टोरी मेरी अकेले की नहीं है, तो बहुत लोगों की प्रॉब्लम्स है वहां पे. दैट करियर छोड़ दिया, क्विट कर दिया.
जी.
एक बेबी है जो अभी समझ नहीं आ रहा रो क्यों रहा है, क्या चाहिए. बॉडी इज समथिंग विच इज अभी अजीब लग रही है हमें. लोग भी शायद हमें उतना टाइम नहीं दे पा रहे, टेंशन नहीं दे पा रहे, सारी टेंशन अभी सिर्फ बच्चे पे गई हुई है. तो एक बहुत सारा जो हमारा एक सोसाइटल नेक्सस होता है वुमेन को लेके व्हेन द मोमेंट शी डिलीवर्ड. तो आई थिंक वहां पे मैंने काफी ज्यादा बात करनी शुरू करी, लाइफस्टाइल के बारे में बात करनी शुरू करी. तो दिस इज ऑल इट इज Shiftas is all about motherhood, positive living, and then of course picking up nature over chemicals or the artificial things. So I always prefer nature as a big learner for us. We can learn a lot from nature itself. अब वो चाहे आप मदरहुड में ले लो, चाहे आप वो अपने नॉर्मल घर के तौर तरीकों में ले लो, रहन सहन में ले लो, जैसे भी ले लो. तो इसके बारे में शिफ्ताज इज ऑल अबाउट.
क्या बात है. तो अभी हम अपने स्टूडेंट वॉलंटियर से मिले और उनकी कम्युनिटी सर्विस के बारे में बात करें. बट श्वेता, एज आई ऑलरेडी सेड, Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards and the series of Spirit Talk is all about inculcating the right values amongst the youngsters for community service. Telling them कि भाई क्या है बाहर, जरूरत क्या है लोगों की, and how privileged probably you are. And I think I personally feel that starts at a very young age. जैसे आपने कहा कि अपने बच्चे से अगर बहुत छोटी उम्र में आप कुछ छोटा सा भी घर का काम करा रहे हैं, similarly the spirit of community service also needs to be inculcated at a very very early stage. Have you been something around that and encouraging other mothers to do as well?
Yes, Richa, I've been working a lot in this space. मैं शादी से पहले भी बहुत ज्यादा इन चीजों में इन्वॉल्व थी, बट नॉट एट अ फुल फ्लेज्ड लेवल. बट देन पोस्ट माय मैरिज I've been coming across a lot of women and at a very trivial level of somebody who is a maid, who's you on a day-to-day basis you meet them.
So good to know about your work, and especially around women. And on that note, we can now, I think, welcome our student volunteers who've been a part of, as I said, Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards in the past. We have Hiya Mongia from Delhi and Mahima Varma from Kolkata. Hiya ki campaign hai Surakshit Beti, Prashikshit Beti. And Mahima is the Director of Calcutta Foundation, which again works with women and around women. And you can also ask them questions, Shweta, if you want. But pehle, let's know more about their work. So, Mahima?
Yes.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I was a part of the Pramerica Spirit Awards in 2016, I want to say. When I was in class 12, I've just graduated from college, so it's been a few years. When I was in school, I was working a lot with women. I was very passionate about women's safety and self-defense. So I started a campaign called Girls for Tomorrow while I was still in school that taught self-defense classes and political awareness classes to underprivileged girls around Calcutta. And I think that was my first step into social service and working with the community. It was the start of my journey, and I've been incredibly lucky that wherever I have been, I traveled. I studied in the US. I went to Duke University. There, I was able to do a lot of work with the community. I worked in Africa. I worked in Jordan. I worked in the Middle East. And then I came back here, and I've joined my family foundation. My grandmother has an incredible legacy of philanthropy and giving. So I was able to join her foundation and kind of work there and diversify their projects. So community service has been very much a part of my blood, if I may say so, and something that I've been passionate about all my life. And um, now we're focusing on women and progress of women in rural India. That's our main focus in the foundation. So that's the work I do.
That's
Mahima,
so
what
amazing.
exactly do you do with the rural women? Because is it around
So
them health or whatever?
yes, so we do a lot of programming. We have several verticals under Calcutta Foundation. One of them is healthcare focused. So we take rural outreach clinics. We have about 1,800 registered women, and we take in 4 districts, and we take medical camps once a week. We had to stop with the pandemic because we couldn't gather. But so we used to do that. Then Girls for Tomorrow was under Calcutta Foundation. So self-defense classes, political awareness, teaching them about their rights. We support a school called Udayan Gram, which is a school for children of leprosy sufferers. And we work with the women's wing there. So all the young girls that have been brought out of the leprosy colonies. So that's the one vertical where we do all of these projects. Our second vertical is direct charity. So, like we have lots of people approach us for help, for educational support, for medical support, for treatments. So we support individual people on that aspect, and then we do relief work. Like my foundation for the last 25 years has focused a lot on disaster relief. When COVID struck, this is more recently, so 6 months ago, I had just come back to the US, and the women that we were working with in the areas that we were doing health camps in were calling us saying that their families had lost jobs. Their husbands were daily wage earners, and they lost jobs, and they didn't have food, and rations hadn't reached them. So we started in one district, kind of snowballed, and worked all around West Bengal. And reached 21 districts around West Bengal. And I think we've worked with over 1 lakh people in 6 months to like support them in different stages. So we started with one set of rations, then we did masks and hygiene stuff, then we did sanitary napkins because that was a dire need.
Yeah.
Then I'm sure you must have heard of Cyclone Amphan when that hit Calcutta. Our state was devastated. Like there was so many areas that had completely been ruined. So then we went back to the community, spoke to them about what their new requirements are, sent them tarpaulins, sent them chappals. Some people needed chappals because their shoes had flown away.
Wiped
So
out.
it's
Yeah.
kind of, I think my foundation is in a very unique position where we have several very strong community partners. We have direct people that live in the community who work with us and then inform our steps. So if we're at a point where we're in a position where we can start a new program, we talk directly to the people on the ground living in these areas, and then kind of work with them to figure out what the most suitable interventions are. So there was no science behind our giving. It's more just like if we're doing COVID relief, one place got lots of rice, one place got suji because they don't eat rice, one place got something else because they were already getting government rations, so they needed a different thing. So it's more just like whoever needs whatever at that
Yeah.
point of, urgency. We work with the community to support them.
हिया, कैसा चल रहा है सुरक्षित बेटी प्रशिक्षित बेटी अभियान?
Right. First of all, I would like to thank you guys for having me here, and I really appreciate all the work that Mahima is doing. And I am currently in 10th grade, and I think I started working on ground with projects when I was in 6th. And my project really, I initiated this project in sixth grade, but then community service or like social services general is something that has been taught to me by my family, and it wasn't something that I saw as an extracurricular. It was something that I was brought up with. My mom used to do it. My grandmother was a teacher. My mom is a teacher, so my grandmother used to teach everybody around her, the helping staff in our home, in her school as well, and their kids. And my mom used to help kids, um, basically train for vocational stuff as well, because when we talk about class 4 employees and we talk about underprivileged women, it's very hard for them to, try and maintain a living for themselves. So English lit and computer science classes were something that I was really, passionate about with my mom in teaching them. So we did collaborate with a lot of non-profit organizations. I went to a lot of places, but then most of my work has been a very individual arena, I would say. And it is something that I've only taken on with my mother and my family. And that is something that I'm eternally grateful for, to have that kind of family support and to have those kind of values, and to, also realize at a very young age that I am privileged and there are people around me who are not. And it is my responsibility, it's my kind of duty to provide to them, which I already have and they don't. So, Surakshit Beti, Prashikshit Beti basically focuses on women empowerment, and the Surakshit Beti, Prashikshit Beti, it's divided into two spheres. And the first sphere focuses on self-defense training and just maintaining and building a life for themselves. That is what it focuses on, and it focuses really deeply on the safety aspect of them as well. So I collaborated with a non-profit organization. I still am in touch with them. So every year on Nirbhaya Day, that is on 16 December, we would hold a rally. We would contain, demonstrations of self-defense techniques and educate people around us in Gurgaon, in Delhi. We would march around Gurgaon in Galeria Market and just, empower women all around us. And that is something that I am really personally passionate about as well, because I feel like as girls, as women in society, I do feel a little unsafe at times. And I think that is something that we need to cater to other women as well. So that is something that I was really passionate about. So the second sphere of this project focuses on vocational training and building livelihoods for women, and basically, imparting them with skills that could help them earn money and help them maintain their livelihood, help them gain an individualistic opinion and individualistic identity of themselves in the society.
एक सवाल मेरा महिमा हिया आप दोनों से है. When youngsters or students get into community service, a lot of times you also have to deal with the administration, public dealing, which probably you haven't done much as a student. Did you both face some kind of problem? कभी आपको हो सकता है पुलिस से डील करना पड़ जाए या लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से या एनजीओ से, एंड you're too young to understand how the system works, probably, or probably you're not able to convince others, or probably sometimes people don't take you seriously कि अरे बच्ची है, इसको क्या काम आता होगा, what can she do, probably she's just doing it temporarily, things like that you might have to hear. So share your experiences if it's been difficult that ways, Mahima.
Yeah, so I actually find that very interesting because I've seen a huge shift in society from when I was working with self-defense classes when I was in class 10 to now, where I think there's been a lot more conversation. When I got into it, firstly, it was my first introduction. Like my project got inspired by Nirbhaya. And the reason it hit so close to home was because it was the first time I was talking about sex, first time I was talking about rape, first time I was talking about women's assault. Like these topics have been very hush hush for so many years. And my growing up never had, like, we worked a lot with women, but we never really talked about violence like this. And when I started, I think there was a bit of a societal taboo that existed for a young girl of, I was 16, 15 at that time, 15, to be talking about these issues, I was addressing larger groups. I had a fundraiser. There were a lot of people I was talking to very openly. My family was very supportive, which was, I think, one of the biggest blessings. But there was still a lot of people that were saying that this is not appropriate to be talking about. I remember I had a conversation with someone who said, if you teach women self-defense, they will start beating up men. So don't do it. And there were just things like that. I feel like we were in a different point in our society where I think the openness wasn't there at that point. And I think that was my biggest struggle. that being said, I was working under my grandmother's foundation, so it was much easier to do
Yeah.
what I wanted to. I was approaching schools that were fairly, like the places that we did self-defense classes were welfare schools around the city. So they were fairly progressive. They were open to this. They were all women's. Um, so on that level, there wasn't a struggle, but there was a struggle on the basic societal level about, oh my God, how can a young girl be having these conversations? And it's wonderful to see the shift. Like it's so heartwarming for me to come back 4 years later and have this open conversation right now, which was very different from when I started off.
That brings me to my next question, Mahima. In fact, कभी कभी ये criticism भी हो सकता है, despite all the efforts that you make. Oh, she's got things on a platter. अरे इसका तो grandmother का organization है. Have you got, heard these kind of comments also, that you got things too easily?
100%. And I think I am at a position where I am dedicating my life to community work because I'm at a privileged point where I don't have to worry about where my next meal is coming from. I'm fully cognizant of that it is because I have this amount of privilege where I did have the freedom to study sociology and psychology instead of econ, because I wasn't looking at going into a business job, because I never have had that pressure. And I think that's a big part of my reality, is that I am at a position of privilege. I am at a point where I have the support of my family. I have the support of a foundation that I can, realize my dreams within. But if I don't do it, who will? Like, if I'm at this position of privilege, so I'm doing it, but I don't think that discounts my
You
work.
giving,
I think it does.
yeah, you're giving like
True,
the
true.
right nudge to your privilege. I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at least you're using your privileges to, help someone else. You're
Yes.
not
Yeah.
you're not just wasting your time, and probably
And
there's so much to learn from you.
And if I was worrying about a salary or where my next meal is going to come from, then I probably wouldn't be able to work so much with this and spend
So
my life
dedicated.
doing this. Yeah, and of course I definitely recognize that, and I'm grateful for that, and it is a part of my reality. Yes, for sure.
So here my same question to you as well. कभी लोकल अथॉरिटी से दिल्ली में आप अगर कभी पुलिस से डील करना पड़ा है, कभी मुश्किलें आई हैं, आपको लगा कि लोग आपको बच्चा समझकर, छोटा बच्चा जानकर हमको वाली बात है जो people have not taken your work seriously?
I feel like it's a little different for me because I always had my mother around. So I didn't always have a foundation or an organization to, yeah,
Women power.
yeah. So I feel like I always didn't have a foundation to fall back on like that. I always had my family to fall back on. And that is also a very big part of why I want to, start my own non-profit when I passed 12th grade. And that is a big part, and that is, I'm planning that from right now. So it is a little, misunderstood when we go out in public places and we start having rallies, we start नारे लगाने लगते हैं जब. So it is a little misunderstood where people would come around us and they would just pass us these looks, because I feel like the main reason of this is that they mistake empowerment for superiority. This is a very big misunderstanding. When we hold campaigns for women empowerment, people think that we want women to be superior, or we want them to reach a level that men have never been before. No, that is not the point. We strive for equality, and we strive for equity in that equality. So with local authorities, I feel like I've been a little lucky about that, because I did interact with the municipal corporations a lot. I did go to XCD schools. I did, interact with the SDMC, which is the South Delhi Municipal Corporation. So I've been a little lucky with that, and I've had no such incidents with, police interfering, and that is something really good, that we found a place in Gurgaon, that is Galeria Market, is little sophisticated. It's a little modern as far as I would go to say. So I feel like I didn't really face any problems with that. But yes, since I was really, really young, I was in seventh, I was in eighth, I was in sixth grade when I was doing all these on-ground projects. So yes, people did not take me really seriously. But then when I started talking, 2 minutes, they would take me seriously. So I guess that has worked out in my favor, but then again, the misunderstanding and the whole societal point of view still stands there.
But I'm sure आप दोनों आगे भी बहुत अच्छा काम करने वाले हो, and you'll make us all very proud of knowing you. Now talking about your journey with the Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards, वो journey आपकी कैसी रही, and to all the youngsters who are watching you right now, and especially the ones who are into community service, or if their parents or teachers are watching us, what is the message that you want to give to all of them, Mahima?
I think most importantly, like the journey was absolutely wonderful. It was also at a very critical time of my life when I was leaving school and joining college. It was at this like huge transition phase for me. So when I went to US with Promerica, I was completely blown away by the kinds of people we were meeting, kinds of conversations we were having. Everybody that was there because they were amazing and they had done amazing work. So just that kind of exposure, that kind of access to people who I'm still in touch with. Some of the girls I met when I was in the US, people from all over the world doing such fantastic work. It really humbles you. I think I'll quickly share one quick anecdote. My favorite experience from there was I was talking to a girl who was in class 4. She was from the US. And she had experience with bullying. So she established something called the buddy bench in all the colleges in her all the schools in her neighborhood, where she would just go and sit on the bench for alone during the play period, just in case anyone was feeling lonely and wanted to come and talk to her. And that was just such a simple, wonderful act of kindness that I was so blown away by, that at such a young age, the kind of thought behind it. And I guess, like, as someone who spent my life just loving the people around me and engaging with the people around me, I truly believe that empathy is something that everyone has. Like, everybody has it. It's something humans are born with. It's the most innate emotion that a human being can feel. It just needs to be nurtured and it needs to be brought out. So I truly believe that if you don't, a big part of not feeling empathy is ignorance. If you watch 5 news articles about rape, you will feel strongly about rape. If you watch 5 articles about the refugee crisis, you will feel strongly about the refugee crisis. So I think the first step is just knowledge. Learn about socially relevant issues. Embrace the society the way it is, and like look at it through a critical lens, and then you'll find a cause. If you don't have a cause, you'll find one. But I don't think you need to do much to feel strongly about something.
Yeah, and if you're already into community service, please apply for Pramerica Spirit of Community
Please
Awards.
apply.
I'll give you the details later. But yeah, your message to everyone,
Do not have a polarized perspective on things. Just try educating yourself from unbiased opinions, and when you develop a great thinking, and that is something that has been a really crucial part of why I work and what I work for. So I guess that would be it. And to not only preach what you do study about or you do get educated about, to also spread awareness about it and to act on it. So do not just preach, act on what you preach, because that is something that does make a difference, even it is for one person around you, even if it is for your own family or the helping stuff in your family. So yes.
तो श्वेता, देखिए वही बात हो रही है, ये मैटर नहीं करता कि आप कितना बड़ा कुछ काम कर रहे हैं या कितने लाखों लोगों को इम्पैक्ट कर रहे हैं. इवन इफ यू इम्पैक्ट वन लाइफ, someone who is lesser privileged than what you are, and if you can help them, guide them, probably educate in whatever way, और कुछ ऐसा कर पाए आप कि उस एक इंसान की जिंदगी बदल पाए, it is, I would still call it community service. Thank you all of you for joining in such a wonderful and inspirational talk. बहुत मजा आया आप लोगों से बात करके. But चलने से पहले, to all those who are watching us, I would like to again say, if you know anyone or if you yourself are a student volunteer who's into community service, या आप ऐसे किसी youngster को, किसी student को जानते हैं, तो please उनसे कहिए कि Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards के लिए जरूर अप्लाई करें. The deadline is 31st January. और अप्लाई करने के लिए they have to go to the website www.spiritofcommunityindia.com. spiritofcommunityindia.com. And let me tell you, the two top student volunteers will get a scholarship worth 3.5 lakh rupees, and there'll be a lot of trophies, certificates, medals for other volunteers as well. And I've been a part of this journey as a jury member, and I can assure all of you that it's going to be a beautiful journey once you apply for the awards. So please, Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards के लिए अप्लाई करें. डेडलाइन इज 31 जनवरी और आपको जाना है www.spiritofcommunityindia.com. अगर आप बहुत अच्छा काम करते हैं, it's always good to be appreciated for that, and appreciation only encourages you to do better in future. So thank you all once again. Mahima, Hiya, keep doing the good work that you're doing. Don't stop it at any level. सबसे जरूरी है कि youngsters जो काम शुरू करें उसको आगे भी continue करें, because we need all of you, to change for the better, to live in a better society, a better country, and a better world. And thank you for your contributions towards that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
And thank you, Shweta.
So much, Richa.
Thank you, Shweta, for being a wonderful mom and, encouraging, inspiring other mothers also, how they can add value to their parenting and motherhood. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Richa. Thank you, girls. Thank you.